All right. Good morning, Keller Williams, and welcome to our weekly sales meeting here via Zoom. I want to just provide a quick reminder, as if you haven't picked up on the thematic for the month of May or my obsession with alliteration, May is for MOFers, and a MOFer is make offer for immediate response. And this is a cornerstone element that is taught in the book Shift. If you don't have a copy of the book Shift, if you haven't read Shift, if you haven't read Shift in the last 6 months, get a copy, read it again. But MOFers are in there. And what it does is it helps you find the motivated, and it allows you to engage from a point of coming from contribution, right? So you're making an offer for immediate response. Now, this isn't something you just walk around and start shouting in the street or put a sandwich board sign on that says, ask me about real estate. That's not an offer for immediate response. And it has to be organized into a larger strategy. So we're excited today to have a conversation with Jordan Shoger, who is in the productivity chamber of Pepper Pike this morning. And he is a farmer. You would know it if you saw his tan, but also the more you know about his business, the more you'll understand how that works. So I'm going to stop the share so we can get your mug on the big screen. I know we're going to come back to another slide for you in a few minutes here. But why don't you start by telling us a little bit about yourself, who you are, where you're from, and what got you into a career in real estate?
Yeah, thanks, Mike. Can you hear me all right?
Hear you just fine, my friend.
Yeah, man. So I've been licensed for about a year and a half now, and I came from a world in operations for Amazon. So I was working for Amazon for about 4.5 years, and mainly wanted a job where I had more control over my time and my life. I've got a cousin that's a real estate agent in the Akron area. And then my guy, Jeff Longo, I don't know if he's on the call or not, but he's obviously in this office. I've known him since I was about 12 years old, carrying golf bags at Mayfield Country Club. So he introduced me to this office, and kind of the rest is history. Like I say, I've been doing this for about a year and a half now.
All right, excellent, man. And what's your favorite part about your career in real estate?
I think my favorite part is, having control, like I said, over how I want to operate a business. I mean, owning a business in general. I've always kind of had an entrepreneurial spirit about me ever since my college days, where a buddy and I put together a business called Fresh Fellas Post Party Pickup, where we'd clean up parties for some parties that we were at the night before. But always had an entrepreneurial spirit about me, and so that's what I like most, is having control over how I operate, the business that I run, who I work with, and helping people ultimately in an area where I live, which we'll get into in a minute.
Well, yeah, we're going to talk more about Fresh Fellas post-party pickup. Well, I'm looking at some agents on this call who could probably use that service after a client event.
Yeah.
All right. So, we're talking about farming today. So I'm going to let you break it down for folks. What exactly is farming, and why did you choose farming as your lead strategy for business development?
Yeah, and I'm by no means an expert, right? Like, I'm sure, like a lot of us, we're always tweaking our business, and so if anybody else is doing something similar and has any tidbits, like I'm all for listening and learning. But to me, what farming is intentionally marketing and providing value to a certain area or group of people, with the intent that
Oh, did we lose him, folks? Is it me? We lost him. All right. Well, we're gonna hope that works itself out momentarily. But as he was saying, it's you're intentionally marketing to a specific geographic area. Right. This is where my type 5 that I work on, like my really my panic jokes, comes in. It's like the two guys walk into a bar, the third one ducked, that sort of thing. It's always a laugher. He used to have this whole string of walks into a bar jokes. I could probably do like 15 minutes on it, but most of them aren't appropriate for the call. So what we're going to do while we wait for Shoger to find someone else's computer to go operate from or fixes the situation, I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the things that he and I were hoping to cover. So from a farming standpoint, it's where you target a geographic area and you're investing there so you get a compound effect, right? The opportunity to take, to do 10 deals in 10 different zip codes, right? Which some of us have to do, or most of us have to do. Hell, at any point in your career, I mean, like, some of us will be driving to Sandusky and then to Conneaut, right? And that's just the name of the game. But to create a leveraged real estate business, a farm allows each transaction that you do to build on the last one, right? And so that every time a sign goes into the ground in Cleveland Heights. All right, is he back? All right, how's that?
I'm good. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. So I've got enough time to get us to the point where you tell us why you chose Cleveland Heights as your farm.
Yeah. So the quick answer is I'm born and raised in Cleveland Heights, and so in my mind, if I could choose where I want to work and there's enough demand in the market for a good agent, then why not choose that? And so born and raised in Cleveland Heights. My wife and I live in Cleveland Heights now. And I did a little research on the market, and I think it was 2020 or 2021. There was just under 1,000 homes sold in Cleveland Heights, and there's one agent that quote unquote dominates the market, and he only controls anywhere from 8 to 10% of that market. And so I was like, perfect. There's plenty of business to be had there. There's no reason why I can't go and get 40, 50, or 100 of those deals myself. So that's what led me to that. But I think the overarching reason is working in the community where I was born and raised, and I know people there and I care about the area.
I love that, man. I love that. So in the last 18 months, you've had a lot of success, and it is continuing to build, compound, and come in waves. But what are some of the most successful things that you've implemented? Let's come out of the gate with like the big wins that you've had from a farm standpoint, and how the MOFR works into that. Like, what are you doing to get people to raise their hands at a higher rate that gets you in front of people at a higher rate?
Yeah, so I mean, without a doubt, the biggest impact is phone calls, picking up the phone and calling people. So when I was first licensed, about a month in, I got hooked up with Eric and Mike Arco, Ryan DeLuca, and I started making phone calls with them. And to start, it was a lot of expired listings, a few FSBOs here or there. But given the market, those things quickly dried up, right? There weren't a lot of expired leads to be had or homes to be had. And the ones that were, they were out in areas where I'd never even been. I'm Googling, like, how do I get to this house? And so, my thought was I need to talk to homeowners in Cleveland Heights, in University Heights, in the area where I'm from. And so phone calls was huge. So what I did was literally just searched streets in Cleveland Heights. I pulled the whole list of about 300 and some streets, and I just started calling people. And I would use Fast People Search. I use RedX now to pull numbers, and the conversation was simple. I'm calling. I'm not asking them if they want to buy or sell a house. I'm just calling and introducing myself and letting them know who I am, and I'm here to help if they need anything. So, I mean, we can role play real quick, Mike, if you want, as to what a conversation like that looks like. So I'd say, hey, is this Mike?
Hello, this is Mike.
Hey, Mike, this is Jordan Shoger over in Cleveland Heights with Keller Williams. How you doing?
I'm doing well, man. How are you?
I'm good, man. Thanks for asking. Hey, didn't want to take up a lot of your time. I'm actually just calling to introduce myself. I live here in the neighborhood, actually born and raised in the area, and a local real estate agent. So just reaching out to you, like I said, to introduce myself and see if there's anything I can do to help you out.
What's the sort of thing that you can do for me? I'm not really interested in selling my house.
Yeah, and not trying to get you to sell by any means. Like I said, my main goal is just to introduce myself to you, let you know who I am in case there's something you need later on down the road. I'm a licensed agent, and so obviously I can help you if you do want to sell your house one day, or you're looking to buy a home, or maybe invest in something. But I also work with a lot of contractors and landscapers. I like to just provide any value to homeowners in the area that I can. So yeah, that's really the reason why I'm calling.
Oh, that's great, man. Well, I'll keep you in mind if anything comes up.
Cool. Yeah, I appreciate that. And when the day comes that you do something, do you have an agent that you know in the area that could help you out?
No, none in particular.
Okay, cool. Well, yeah. I tell you what, I can shoot you a text with my business card on it. That way you have it, and if you ever need anything, feel free to reach out. That's my cell phone on there.
Great. Excellent. Thanks, man.
Alrighty, man. Yeah, appreciate it. Take care. So that's all I'm doing. I'm keeping it simple. Sorry, do you have a question?
No. I love it. Right. It's just it's a good clean touch. That when we talk about MOFRs, there's the direct offer, right? Do you want to buy, sell, or invest in real estate today? Which 8% of the population is going to do this year, and if you call the right person on the right day, you got a deal. Then there's the indirect offer, which is, hey, here's all the value I provide, right? And it's a great indirect offer that is non-offensive, non-aggressive, probably don't get hung up on very much, right? And the majority of the time that people are doing anything with their home, they're living in it. And so you're hitting that living portion, right? And so you got a reason to call them every 6 months.
Right. And so from there, and this is something I've kind of tweaked, like I said, throughout my time, is I'm having that initial conversation. If it goes well, like the conversation we just had, I would categorize that as a positive conversation. So you were somebody that was willing to hear me talk, and you said it's okay if I send you a text with my business card on it. So what I would do is I would write down Mike's name, I'd write down your address on a little call sheet that I do every day. And then at the end of my call session, I'm writing you a handwritten note that all it says is, hey, Mike, thanks for taking the time to talk over the phone. It was nice meeting you. Like I said, feel free to reach out if there's anything I can do to help. Jordan, put a business card in it and send it out. And so then later on that week, you're getting a handwritten note from a guy you just talked to on the phone. And handwritten notes are probably one of my biggest, one of the most important things that I do. I get people that call me and just say, oh my God, I can't believe you sent me a handwritten note. I haven't received one of these in years. You know what I mean? And so they're just appreciative that I took the time, and they're going to remember that. And then from there, if you're somebody that's not ready to do something in the next 90 days, I'm just putting you in my spreadsheet for monthly follow-up, and you're getting what I call a value postcard from me, which I got one right here. Looks like this. It's just a card that every month is a little bit something different. I don't know if you have the one I sent you, Mike.
I got the slide here. This is great.
Yeah. So my intent is every month. There it is. Every month is just to send something that's valuable to a homeowner. Every deal that I've done in Cleveland Heights, there's been some sort of hang up or uncertainty or lack of knowledge around point of sale. So I was like, cool, for April, my message is going to be about point of sale. What is it? Scan this code. It'll take you to the website, Cleveland Heights website, and it'll tell you all about point of sale. Here's a few common violations that are found, my number on there. And then every month I just, support somebody that can help in the home buying or selling process. And so last month was Sean. And I said, if you need a great loan officer, call Sean. And it's as simple as a little postcard. I write on the back a short little message, and I send those out. And again, these are only to people that I've had a conversation with initially. So they're getting it, and they've had a conversation with me on the phone. They got a handwritten letter thanking me for talking. And now every month they're getting a little piece of value that could help them out.
So let's talk about that, because here's an we were talking about this last week whenever we were out for red dating. So it was me and you were doing yard work, and Ryan DeLuca was talking on the phone. And so that was great. but we were talking about how your farm is not all of Cleveland Heights. You are not trying to
Right.
farm 100% of Cleveland Heights. You're trying to farm the people who are open to the conversation with you. So talk a little bit
Right.
about that and that aha for you.
Yeah, and yeah, like you said, we were talking about this, and I kind of came across it on the podcast I was listening to, where and we can talk more about what my farm looks like today. But
Yeah.
yeah, my farm isn't the 3,500 or whatever group of people that I'm targeting in a specific area. My farm becomes, of those 3,500, the ones that I talked to on the phone who said, hey, it's cool if you follow up with me, or the ones that said, hey, I'd love some help with point of sale issues, or I need a good loan officer, or whatever it may be. So somebody that is I've connected with over a conversation on the phone, and at your point, like, they've raised their hand and said, I'm willing to accept some sort of value from you. And so for me, perfect. I'm in, you know what I mean? And now I'll become kind of their go-to person with anything they need. And so what the name of the game is, what I'm calling, isn't necessarily to come across deals, which I do frequently, but it's to kind of narrow down what my actual farm is and who those people are. So you take a group of 3,500 and you narrow it down to 500, 600, or whatever it may be.
So for anybody on the call who's thinking about implementing this strategy, and even if it's in your cul-de-sac, your development, or your municipality, the idea that to send out 3,500 postcards a month is not a dollar productive activity, and probably puts Jordan in the poorhouse. But to send out 500 to people who have raised their hand and said yes is very productive for two reasons. One, it's not wasteful. Two, if people who have not given you permission to communicate with them on a consistent basis and add value, if they haven't done that and you do it, that's a potentially brand damaging activity, right? Because there's no relationship, there's no purpose for this other than, hey, I'm Jordan and I want to sell homes, right? Which is not the name of the game. That to the offer without, or sorry, the execution on an offer without the permission is commission breath, right? So yeah, what does your farm look like now? What are some of the results that have come out of your farm? Kind of take us through how you've had some wins.
Yeah. So, I'll take you back to last year, being my first year, and I started doing the calls and the prospecting and the farming probably about, my second 6 months being licensed. And from the 14 deals I did my first year, 5 of them were from farming, but those were all people that I just happened to come across on the phone, and they were ready now. So they were like, yeah, actually, I was thinking about selling my house, and so that's great. But to your point, it's not I didn't have this system of follow-up set. I was just dialing because I needed to, make money and get deals done. And I came across those people. Year two now, as I get into the first 6 months of year two, what I'm seeing is I've targeted 44118, that zip code, as my kind of hotspot, and I've trimmed it down a little bit from there of to who I'm targeting in that area, because that's where there's a good turnover rate, and that's an area I know best. And so that's where I'm kind of dialing and sending these cards to now. But just over the past 2 months, so this is the first time in my career that I've had back-to-back months where I'll have 3 listings go up each month. And so signed, I should say. And so I've had, of the 6 listings I've had signed over the past 2 months, 5 of them have been from sellers calling me and saying, hey, we spoke last year and I got your card. Can you help us out? And the other one was my brother, which he's here in Cleveland Heights. And so I'm starting to see, some of the work paying off. And the nice thing about those listing appointments is it's just me showing up. They don't have another agent that they're interviewing. I've showed the value. They know I'm a local expert in that area. And so that's kind of what the results are looking like now. And Mike, we talked about this a couple of days ago. Some of them are actually outside of Cleveland Heights. So these are people that live in Cleveland Heights, but they have an investment property in South Euclid or in Lyndhurst, and they're saying, hey, can you actually help me with that one? And so we have the connection here in Cleveland Heights, but maybe it's not a Cleveland Heights home.
Yeah, I love that. And if you read the book 0 to 1 by Peter Thiel about starting businesses, and if you don't want to read it, go watch the reverse book club we did on it. It's all about building up critical mass inside of a small to medium sized market, and then using that market share to bully your way into other markets, right? So
Yeah.
being the top realtor in Cleveland Heights allows you to push into adjacent communities because of your relevance in that immediate ecosystem. And so that's an awesome, awesome takeaway. Of the deals closed or contracts signed this year, what percentage are coming out of the Heights?
So right now it's about 50-50,
Okay.
but the, I don't know how I want to word this. That's where the homes are located. But of the clients that live in Cleveland Heights that I got to because I called them in Cleveland Heights,
Yeah.
it's about 85% of those people either have a home they're selling in Cleveland Heights or they live in Cleveland Heights, and I called them, showed value, but I'm selling their house elsewhere.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that, I mean, that's amazing. So like 50% of your deals are happening effectively within walking distance of your house.
Right.
And then 85% of your clients, if you were to have a client event, could walk to your house. And that is an incredibly impactful and powerful thing to accomplish, because the 15% that aren't, right. And this is, I think, when we talk about, and you're going to hear about this from Jake on Friday or in a couple Fridays about the one thing, when you talk about the Pareto principle, how much effort and energy does it take for the 15% that are outside your farm versus the 85% that are inside your farm?
Yeah, you got broken up a little bit there. Was it a question, or were you just making a statement?
No, I was asking the question, like, is it harder and more work for those 15% that aren't in your farm versus the 85 that are, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, you gotta, takes longer to get to the house. It takes longer to reach the area, like running comps, like, okay, is this actually a good price to list the house, as opposed to the ones in the area. Like I already know, I know exactly where it is. I've, lived near the house before. I had a friend that lived down the street, whatever it is. So yeah, to answer your question, it's definitely more time consuming on that other 15%.
Yeah. That's outstanding, man. What is when you think about your farm another 18 months from now? What is what's success look like? Where do you want it to be? What do you want to be doing in the Heights?
Yeah. So I had a goal that in my first 4 years of being licensed, not had a goal, have a goal, that I'll be the top agent in Cleveland Heights. And so I'm comparing myself to the guy that's doing the most deals now, and he does right around 100 to 110 deals in Cleveland Heights every year. So year 4 looks like I've repeated this process of calling, thank you note, value card over and over and over again, that by year 4, my business looks like me answering the phone as opposed to me dialing the phone, because dialing's not fun. I do it because I know it works, but like, yeah, that very peaceful conversation I just had with Mike isn't always the conversation, and so I want to get to a point where I'm just answering my phone and sellers in Cleveland Heights are calling me and saying, hey, we're ready to list our house. What do we do now?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that is, that's an incredibly impactful thing. And when we, you want to put this for our narrative learners or our people who, who are less worried about like percentages and things like that. For everybody that's calling you when they're ready to list, they're not looking for a realtor. They have a realtor, right? So we talk about, Art Obleton, will always say he doesn't have past clients. He just has clients, right? Like if my doctor, I'm his patient, whether I'm showing up at an appointment or 6 months later and I'm not due back for another 6 months, I'm still his patient. I'm still my attorney's client. I'm still my accountant's client, even when it's not tax season. Are you still your client's realtor when they're not trying to buy, sell, or invest in real estate? And that's what a farm focuses on, is a consistent value proposition, such that whenever they have a need, I mean, how many times are you actually getting somebody taking you up on like, yeah, actually the neighbor kid went off to college. We need somebody to cut the grass.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
You solve that problem, you got a client for life. I mean, it's not even a big problem, but it's one less thing to worry about, right? Which is what everybody's looking for.
Exactly. That's what I realized. It doesn't take much to gain someone's trust. If, you know, and the more you help people get what they want, you know, you can accomplish whatever it is you're after.
Real quick, we'll do 2 more questions. One, what's the thing that you tried that you're just like, not doing that again? And then what is the thing you're most excited about for 2022 that isn't the birth of your new child?
Yeah. So something that I tried that was like, this isn't working is 2 things. One, what I was saying on the phone to people. So when I originally started, it was more of a circle prospect. And so I would say, hey, the house down the street just sold. And then I would get into my, like, just calling it, you know, whatever it may be after that. And as soon as I started saying anything about home sales, sold, bought, whatever, it was like a fury of like hang-ups. Don't call me. Shut up. I hate you. Leave me alone. You know what I mean? So I was like, all right, that's not working. You know, and maybe it was my tone or whatever it may be. But also I think in this market, so many people are getting calls from investors and out of town people. Hey, I'll buy your home cash. Like, I just needed to mix up my message. And so that's when I came up with, all right, I'm going to call in Cleveland Heights. I'm going to tell them I'm from here and just introduce myself. I don't want anything from you right now unless you need it. And so, yeah, I quickly realized what you're saying and being strategic about, you know, kind of your quote unquote scripts is super important. And so that was something that didn't work out too well. And then, yeah, what I'm most excited for, other than my wife and my son coming in July, is just sticking to a system. You know, I think as real estate agents, I'm not alone in saying that it's always easy to change what you're doing or try to find a new way to do something, but I'm excited about the system that I have, and I'm excited to rinse and repeat for the next 18 months with the hopes to get me to my 4-year goal.
That's incredible, man. Well, thank you so much for sharing all of your lessons learned, your strategies, your successes, your opportunities. I know we've got a lot of people on here who either have farms, have aspiration of farms, or, you know, are very quickly going to shift to that strategy based on the idea that people will actually call you and ask you to list their home.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool. So,
and one other thing, sorry, real quick, and I got this message from Eric Akbar was, I think the way he says it is like, whatever you track grows. And so like one thing that has had a huge impact on me over the last like really 4 months, I've been diligent about tracking my numbers. So everything from number of dials to number of letters I'm writing a day to the number of pickups on a phone. So I know exactly how many dials I average a day, how many people pick up and I talk to every day, how many dials I need to an appointment, all those things, you know, and so that helps me just like plan from a business ownership standpoint, you know, and if I'm not getting what I need to go to those numbers and say, hey, am I doing these things? So I'd say that's a huge one is tracking all the actions you're doing and what the results are.
Yeah. If you know your inputs and you know your outputs, if somebody said, hey, you know, hey, look, you need to take another listing this week, you know the number of dials. Right. You can absolutely dial that in, and then you know your dollar per hour, you know everything that comes from it. Yeah, we don't track enough, period, the end. And so even if guys, if you're looking for a way to start, just start with your farm. Don't track any of your dials outside of a zip code that you want to dominate, and then keep track of those. Keep on keeping on. But Jordan, thank you so much, man. Love the fact that you lean in and take advantage of the culture, and that you're willing to immediately turn around and pour back into the rest of our agents. Excited to see your business grow. And as always, man, if there's anything you need, look no further. We got it here.
Thanks, Mike.
Awesome, man. All right, team, that is going to do it for today. Thank you so much for joining us. If you have questions for Jordan, please reach out. We know that he is the kind of guy who would be more than willing to help you make the tweaks and improvements in your business. We will see you here next Tuesday, May 24th, for our final Mofer moment of May, when we'll be talking about the illustrious golden letter, and how it produces results. Don't miss out. We'll see you next Tuesday, 9:30. Take care, gang.